Welcome to RotaRail Tech Series Episode 7. Today we're going to talk about oil filters. Give us a like and follow our channel to keep up with what we're doing. Here's our rear plate with the oil filter boss. This is the standard size of 13B. So the built ones, they're basically machining this the same size so you can take the same sort of filters. One of the issues that we had with the motor was we had a bit of evidence of a bit of trash going through the bearings. And so obviously, investigating that and looking at oil filters as part of that. So this filter here, this is this size. It's PBL, Purolator Boss, pretty decent oil filter. 14612. This is pretty much standard size on like an RX-7, and they're fairly short to keep the height of the motor down. But as you can see, it's fits on pretty compact, but obviously it's not a very big filter. And with a pleated filter like this, that means there's not a lot of surface area on the filter media. And on a street car, it's not such a big deal because the only real time that it's going to bypass the filter through the bypass valve in here is if the filter's completely clogged up. And in those situations, you want it to bypass because it's better to have some oil than no oil. But on a racing engine with thicker oil, high RPM, lots of oil flow, lots of pressure, it'll bypass more often because it just hasn't got the filter media area in there to flow the oil through there. So that's what we were running before. I didn't really think about it, which is my own fault. So yeah, that's the filter we were using before. So looking at different filters, this is kind of the biggest off-the-shelf filter I could find that fits. So I looked up the dimensions of the thread and the seal and stuff. And so this is a Fram Tough Guard 3985. This fits on, the O-ring's slightly larger on the outside diameter than the Boss, but it would still seal up fine. It's not going to blow out. And obviously if you compare the two, there's like a huge difference in the size. And this has got about 3 times the area of the filter media inside it. So it's going to flow 3 times the oil, if everything else being equal. And so the benefit of that on a racing engine is that basically when you're at high RPM, turning 10,000 or whatever, you're moving a lot of oil volume, and so you don't want it to bypass, and you don't want a restriction because you don't want to lose oil pressure, so you want a lot of filter media area in there to flow the oil. This is about the best. There's these, and there's a Fram HP 17 or something that's about the same size. And there's other manufacturers as well making similar. This is about the best compromise in terms of filter media size, micron filtering capacity, and the bypass pressure rating. So that's kind of one option that we have. The other option which I'm looking at, I'm going to test this is a Canton Racing cartridge type. So basically, this is a big adapter that screws on, and you compare that to that, much bigger obviously. This actually runs these cartridges inside it. So these are not a pleated filter; they're what's called a depth filtration filter, and so it's basically a different way of making filters. And so even though this looks small, it's actually got far more area effectively than even this big one. And so the Canton filters are actually a full, like they don't have a bypass in them, so it's full filtration. So every single bit of oil going in the engine will go through the filter. And these, you just got to replace the cartridge often enough. You can see the oil pressure just start to drop off. That's the time to replace the cartridge. So we'll just keep track of that, like how many passes it is, then we'll know roughly how long the filter life's going to be. But this is what we're looking at testing out. And these don't have a anti-drain back valve, but what I found even with these little purolators is that the oil will just drain out anyway, because the filter's because normally on like a Chevy or whatever, the filter's going to be upside down, and so the oil can't drain out of it necessarily, and you just got to worry about kind of the suction down the pickup, drawing the oil out of the filter. But on a rotary, the filter's up the other way. You could get a filter adapter and stuff and put the filter the right way up. We don't really have room for that. And so what happens in effect is that the oil, like the anti-drain back valve, stops the oil draining out the inlet side. But what actually happens on a rotary that we found was that it will just drain out the pressure side of the, well, the outlet side of the filter anyway, because of the clearances in the bearings that will just drain out within a couple of hours. And so your filter just ends up being empty anyway. So this is obviously a bit bigger, so we'll just tweak the settings on the PDM so that it doesn't power on the ignition until we've got oil pressure. And that will just ensure that, we're not starting the engine up before we've got oil pressure up. We'll give this a shot, see how it goes, and hopefully with these, keep the oil much cleaner than with these. So thanks for watching, give us a like, and we'll see you next time.